Well, hi everyone. It's Club Grubbery time again, and it's great to see you all back on. And Thursday, the 19th of June, recording this for Friday night, the 20th. And welcome to Club Grubbery. And Johnny, good to see you, mate.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it's been a long day, but anyway, we'll get through it.
Fresh from a council meeting, and joining us, Dr My Le Trinh. My Le has become a bit of a household name in the movement that we've found ourselves in, John. And how this lady keeps smiling in the light of everything that AHPRA is doing to her. Dr. My Le Trinh, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Hoody and John, for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure to have you, sweetheart. I've got to read something out in relation to Dr. Beverley Peers and fundraising. We hope is going ahead to help her in the High Court. I'm sure you're aware of Beverley, Miley.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So an interesting opportunity has come up where Hoodie's Heroes and others can help fund this initiative to get through the High Court for Beverley. And I just want to read this out. I just want to spend a few moments on a couple of ways you can help Dr. Beverley Peers' case in the High Court. Some of you heard Jackie Dundee the other night talking about funds needed, $60,000 just to start with. The Living Free Festival in the beautiful Pillar Valley near Grafton, New South Wales, is running from the 22nd to the 24th of August. I'm told that last year's festival was fantastic, a celebration of freedom, community, music, and truth. This year, Hoodie's Heroes has its own discount code for ticket bookings. And the code is Hoodie, all in uppercase, HOODY, and we'll put this in the links. Just easy to remember. This will give you a discount on tickets, and as a community, we can earn funds towards Dr. Beverley's case that holds much promise for us and all of us if it's successful. Everything you need to know about the festival, camping and ticket prices is on the website, and we'll have that in the description. And if you book, remember to use the Hoodie code, and I believe this is set up and ready to go. Thanks to Dave and Karen for making this happen. And if you can't get to the festival and would like to support Dr. Beverley Peers, you can donate directly to her cause at Give, Send, Go, and the link will be there as well. Now, how that works, if you register and buy your tickets using that code, a percentage of the ticket sales comes to Dr. Beverley's appeal costs. So that money, every cent of it will be donated directly to Dr. Beverley. So you can have a great weekend, mix with some great people, enjoy a beautiful spot, and help a lady who can really help all of us at the moment through the High Court. So all those details will be on the site. So thank you, Miley. Thank you, John. That's a great initiative. I'm really pleased to support that. So, Miley, you have been suspended for 4 years?
Almost 4 years.
As a doctor in Victoria?
In New South Wales.
New South Wales, I'm sorry. And your initial misdemeanor was for what? Why did they suspend you?
So I had a patient whom I treated, and she was gravely ill, and she refused to go to the hospital. So I treated her in her home remotely because she was in the LGA affected area, so the southwest of Sydney, where they locked down the people in those areas. And so she had gone to the hospital with some other issue and found out that she's got COVID-19. So they put her in an isolated room. They didn't give her any treatment, but they forced her to wear a mask, even though she's in an isolated room. And she suffers with asthma. And so she couldn't breathe. And she also, her family wasn't able to see her. So she discharged against medical advice. And she continued to deteriorate at home over several days. So a colleague of mine asked whether I could look after her, and I agreed. But I didn't know that her condition was quite severe. So when I assessed her initially, I said to the family that she should go to the hospital and get treatment. She refused to go, and I treated her. She got over the COVID. She had very severe COVID, and she ended up in the hospital with some side effects. So steroids that I used, that I prescribed for her, and I basically was picked up by a doctor called Professor Associate Professor Gunja, who was a doctor who went to the media and spoke about ivermectin overdose, a case of ivermectin overdose that presented to Westmead. And he was the doctor who told his intern to report me to the Healthcare Complaints Commission. So it appears to me that I've been identified as a doctor who treated a patient with ivermectin. And so that was one complaint. The second complaint was by someone by the name of John Smith. And John Smith alleges that I'm an anti-vaxxer and that I promote treatment of COVID-19 on an online forum, and that John Smith knows exactly how many other ivermectin prescription I had prescribed, and he even knew exactly their names and everything else. So those two complaints resulted in what they call an emergency, the Section 150 hearing, and so that was conducted about 2 weeks later, and I was suspended on the day because they considered me as a danger to the public, and so dangerous that they have to immediately suspend me. So I've been suspended since the 27th of October 2021 till now.
Good grief. Good grief. A danger to the public. With everything that's being released now, John. Now, how did your patient fare after all of that, after your treatments?
She survived. She survived a disease. So that she's got cytokine storm, so it's intense inflammation in her lungs, and I had to institute treatment that helped save her life, and I have expert witnesses that support me on that. Professor Clancy, Robert Clancy, support my treatment of this patient, and he said that she survived because of my treatment. So
did Dr. Clancy's support or evidence carry any weight in the tribunal?
Well, this is where we're going to prepare the closing submission. So I've had my hearing. So the hearing dragged on for 7 days. I had 4 days in December last year and a further 3 days in March this year. So normally they just do a closing submission soon after the hearing. But the judge insisted that because it's such an important case that they have to prepare, they have to take time to prepare. So I had to pay $6,000 in transcripts for the 2 lots of hearing, so that they could prepare a closing submission. And that's that closing submission. So the AHPRA submitted theirs. I'm due to submit mine, and then after that we have a hearing. So that hearing is going to be on the 11th of August. This year, so in a few weeks' time.
How are you feeling about it?
I feel good because the 7 days hearing that we've had, I had expert witnesses that are and eminent doctors who stood by me and support me and told me that I've said that I've done the right thing, and so they try to dismiss their evidence. They try to say that the evidence doesn't carry any weight. And they try to say that my affidavit is not reliable. And also I'm not a reliable witness.
John, over to you.
I don't know what you can say, Hoodie. I mean, I've been shaking my head there. I mean, it is absolutely outrageous that this stuff is going on. And as you rightly sort of alluded to there earlier, Hoodie, in view of what's going on now, I mean, we've got the Department of Health and Aging essentially saying they got it wrong in an admission on the 3rd of June, which says that we should never have been vaccinating children under 18. I mean, if that isn't enough to stand this entire nonsense on its head, I don't know what is. But I'm presuming you're in NCAT, is that right? That's the
Correct.
tribunal. So just for people out there, so they understand. So there's a senior panel member. They're not judges, so it's usually someone with a very senior background in law. So they might be a senior counsel or a King's counsel, but they're very senior. And then there'll be advisory members, and usually those advisory members are people who have some skin in the game somewhere in relation to what's being discussed. So, I mean, there may well be a panel member who's a psychologist or a registered nurse or a paramedic or a doctor even. If it was in regard to an accounting case, it'd probably be an accountant. So these things, in theory, are done so that there is some unique understanding of what you're trying to present, Miley. So, having been through that system, I know what you've gone through and how the system is set up. I mean, fortunately, in my case, it was a sort of 50-50 outcome. Essentially, they found, in their favour in some respects, but they essentially ordered that I have the suspension lifted and the working conditions removed. So, but I didn't realise, Miley, but even though they may lift those things, then you're still subject to this violation that they call under this health law that essentially originates out of Queensland. I think it's basically something that all the states have signed up to, which potentially could see you charged.
Yes, correct. So they try to make findings of unprofessional conduct, alleging that I'm practicing significantly below standard, which is interesting because I've been a doctor for almost 30 years. I've never had a complaint made against me or never been sued. And all of a sudden, I've got these 2 complaints and they declared that I'm a danger to the public. And all of a sudden, I'm practicing significantly below standard. And the other finding they want to make is it's a professional misconduct. So either of these findings could, if I were to be found guilty, they could fine me thousands of dollars. And they also want to cancel my license for 3 to 5 years, and they also want to make me pay for the hearing as well, for their cost. So I'm paying for my cost, but they want me to pay for their cost too. But they're prosecuting me unlawfully. So to me, the suspension, the determination that I'm a danger to the public, to me, that's a lie. And there's never any indication that I'm posing a danger to anyone. I saved a life, and their expert witness acknowledged that I saved that woman's life. Their own expert witness, their other expert witness had never treated a COVID patient before, never treated anyone with respiratory distress from COVID-19. So he's got no experience treating COVID, and he's the one that's criticizing my treatment. And I've got an expert witness, Professor Clancy, an eminent professor of immunology, and Dr. Pierre Corey, who treated thousands and thousands of people with COVID-19, and they don't want to take any of their evidence as being important. That's ridiculous. I mean, I've been subjected to 4 years, almost 4 years of suspension, dragged through to the tribunal for prosecution for saving a life and prescribing a few ivermectin medication. But that's a treatment that cures COVID-19. That's a treatment that, if recognized, would not have the vaccine approved. So if there was a therapeutic for COVID-19, there wasn't going to be any vaccine being approved for this novel disease. Yeah. And so I'm being prosecuted and persecuted for this very reason.
That happened, Miley, when you were dealing with that patient. That happened at a time 3 friends of mine in Sydney in one family were all very, very sick. They did a test and they found out they had COVID. They contacted New South Wales Health. New South Wales Health turned up at their home, said, yes, you've got COVID. Even though you're sick, we want you to stay home and not present to a hospital unless your lips turn blue or you start coughing blood. I asked those people, were they given any medication? Were they prescribed any medication to help them in the process of healing at home? They said just Panadol.
Correct. And Panadol's the worst thing you could give for those types of patients. But the thing is that they were given the pulse oximeter to monitor their condition, and without any treatment. I mean, where in this world, like, you have a viral disease and you won't gift the patient anything. You won't recommend vitamin C, vitamin D, sunlight or anything. These people got locked in their homes until their condition got worse, so that they could end up in hospital and could die from the disease. And that's the policy, that's the health policy at the time, and it's wrong.
Miley, tell us about your life in Australia, how you got to be here, and the effort you put into your training to become a doctor. Tell us a little bit about that. Give some people a background of you.
Sure. So I was born in Cambodia, but my parents were Chinese, but I was born there, and at the time, just before the Khmer Rouge came in, my mom sent me to Vietnam to stay with my aunt. And soon after, my mom was killed by the Khmer Rouge. So I was raised by my aunt and her family. I was raised by my aunt, and a few years later, Vietnam became a communist country. So we lived under communism for about 3 years, and they decided to then leave Vietnam. So we traveled on a fishing boat from Vietnam to Malaysia. So I ended up in a Malaysian refugee camp for about 2 months. And the Australian government then sent delegates to accept refugees from Vietnam at the time. So I came to Australia in early 1978 at the age of 12. So I had a hard beginning, in a sense that my aunt was starting out in Australia, so they had to work really hard. They generate an income through sewing, making garments, just for a very small amount of money. And I was made to help the family. So I spent a lot of time sewing and very little time to study. So I recognized that if I excel in my study, that I could have a better future. So I spent a lot of time studying and working really hard in my schoolwork to get somewhere. So I got to university, I got to dentistry. I did better than I expected. got to dentistry, and I did really well. So I was able to transfer to medicine.
Wow. And how long have you been a practicing GP?
So almost 30 years. So I graduated in 1992.
Have you ever had to deal with any complaints from the regulatory bodies at all in that period?
No, never. I've never had a complaint made against me. And 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 I have done voluntary work overseas. I've been going back to Cambodia over a period of 12 years on medical mission to Cambodia every year for about 12 years until COVID came along. I stopped. And then my suspension. So I haven't been able to do any of that. But during my period there, Cambodia has this in Cambodia, in rural Cambodia, there's a parasitic disease called strongyloides, and it's endemic in rural Cambodia. And the treatment for that condition is ivermectin. And ivermectin was available over the counter in Cambodia. So it's a safe drug. I know it's a safe drug, and it makes no sense to persecute me for trying to treat my patient and trying to give treatment to people who were desperate for treatment that could kill them.
John, how can a life like that, how can dedication like that, from a start like that, be at the whim of some half-baked bureaucrats who decide they can strike a line through anybody's destiny at the drop of a pen? I mean, is this what we've come to in this country? I mean, Miley has come from humble beginnings, tragic beginnings. She did her very best to succeed, has had a flawless career, 30 years in medicine. The patient that she's in trouble for treating survived and probably did better than if she'd ended up on remdesivir and intubated in the hospital. And she's 4 years without being able to help people. She can't even help people in Cambodia. Where do the ripples in this pond stop going out? How many people may have died in Cambodia because she hasn't been there to help them? How many people in Australia may have died because she hasn't been able to practice medicine that she is rightfully entitled to practice? John, where does this end? Where does this madness end?
Well, horrifically, Hoodie. I mean, Miley's story typically would have ended in an Order of Australia medal. That's the caliber of person we're dealing with. She is a model for everyone to say, thank God there are people in the world like My Le Trinh. I mean, the Kerry Chance of the world getting these awards. I mean, it makes me crook in the guts that they are persecuting people like Miley and many others. I mean, they say all roads lead to China. I mean, but Miley, I mean, would you ever thought that all roads lead to communism in Australia?
No, I ran away from communism, and I end up being a victim of one here in Australia. It's
Absolutely.
very ironic.
Without a doubt, we are living in a communist Marxist regime. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, John. People have to wake up. That's what's going on. That these non-elected nut jobs in AHPRA can rule roughshod over the destinies of people, the sovereign destiny of people like Miley, who did everything expected of her. Look, if half of the Australians who whinge and moan about immigration had done what Miley had done and actually made a difference to this country, we wouldn't even be having that debate.
You know, I don't know if it's true, but somebody told me last week that there's 1,200 employees at AHPRA. I'd love to know if that's correct. I mean, that tells you all.
How many of them are doctors or medically trained?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of people on the switchboard, and I can imagine why. And look, I've had some wonderful conversations with the people there. I mean, I got a complaint, as everyone knows, again back in February for my work with you here, Graham, on Club Grubbery, social dissidence or disobedience or something. I don't know what it was. But anyway, it seems you can't get an answer out of anyone. I've rung them probably 3 times since that date back in February, and nobody can give you an answer. I mean, the people on the page, they don't even respond. It says it's gone to the AHPRA and the Paramedicine Council. Nobody there knows anything about it. I mean, the whole thing's a joke.
So tell us about the new CEO, John. What have
Well,
you
this
got there?
guy, well, look, this guy was head of some financial regulator for banks, I think My Le pointed out earlier, but he's got a history with the tax office. Now, look, in fairness, I sent him an email on our behalf, Hoodie, and I'll read the viewers out the email. I sent it to AHPRA Media. Good afternoon. Just inquiring about how I can organise for a small delegation to meet with CEO Justin Umpersteiner to talk about the mRNA vaccines and AHPRA's conduct in relation to governance in this regard. Further, we would also like to discuss AHPRA's role in any future pandemic and how trust can be restored in our health system moving forward. If the CEO is amenable to a meeting, we can discuss the time, location and participants. With kind regards, John Larder, Club Grubbery Media. Well, there's no response. Not even an email to say that they've received it. I mean, this is the sort of garbage that goes on. I mean, look, I would say that that's a very fair email, Hoodie. I mean, we're extending the olive branch. Look, we want to have dialogue. We want to have discussions. If health system is going to be reformed in Australia, we need to engage with these people that are on the other side to, get some sense back into the system, some common sense. And this guy's new to the role. I'm hoping that he gets hold of this. I'm hoping media monitors pass this on to him, that we want to speak to him. We're not going to. We just want some answers. That's all. I mean, we're not unreasonable people. I mean, it's clear that you people are just wasting money, running after people like My Le Trinh. How much have you spent on lawyers?
Lots of money.
How much?
Yeah,
How much have
Miley
you
should know
paid?
because she's being asked to put the bill.
Well, I took the medical counsel to the Supreme Court of Appeal on judicial review. So I initiated that, hoping that that a win would secure a complete abolition of indefinite suspension of all health practitioners, because that legislation was really critical in getting justice for all health practitioners, because when they suspend you, they subject you to a long period of investigation. That is actually unlawful. They're supposed to investigate you for a period of time, but not for years and years. And you're supposed to be referred to the tribunal for a hearing of your case. And that doesn't get done. That referral, there's a specific legislation that stipulates that very clearly, that the Medical Council and the Healthcare Complaints Commission must refer this serious matter to the tribunal. So when they suspend you, that's a serious complaint. They have to refer you to the tribunal. But they won't refer you. So I was hoping to set a precedent on that legislation by doing a judicial review. So when I got to the Court of Appeal, there was another matter. There's another legislation that I decided to challenge, and that was the delegation of power. Because when I got to the Court of Appeal, they handed over a document which showed that they haven't actually followed the law in terms of empowering those medical counsel who suspended people. They have to delegate that power according to law, but they didn't. So I decided to challenge that as well. And the judge required me to go back to the tribunal, submit that legislation before the tribunal, before I could have the matter heard together with the other legislation. So when I got to the tribunal and submitted that proceeding, they refused to release my judgment. And if they when they did that, I can't have my hearing. I couldn't have my hearing at in the Court of Appeal. So after 16 weeks, I made a video outside the tribunal and released that on X. And I had quite a lot of views. And a week later, the tribunal decided to release my judgment. And so I eventually got to the Court of Appeal and had the matter concerning the two legislation heard. But in the process, while I was waiting, they initiated the prosecution proceeding against me. So that's the proceeding that I'm facing now, because I request to have that adjourned multiple times because I was so stressed and I suffered with PTSD because of all the persecution that I was subjected to. So to me, the initiation of that prosecution proceeding was a way to prevent me to have standing before the Court of Appeal, because they were trying to cancel my license first, so that when I got to the Court of Appeal, I won't have any standing. I mean, that's just, to me, it's the most how do I say, the most unjust thing that should be happening in Australia, because for me to seek judicial review, I mean, the legislation is black and white, but the Medical Council and the Healthcare Complaints Commission refuse to obey the law. And so it's the onus is for us doctors to ask the court to interpret that legislation. And in the case of that legislation, that the need to refer health practitioners to the tribunal with serious complaint, that legislation was mentioned by a case just months before my suspension. It was soon after my suspension that the Prigent case was released, and the judges, including the Chief Justice, said that serious complaint must be referred to the tribunal. So I was aiming to set precedent, and so that it'll put an end to indefinite suspension of health practitioners. So this legislation it's the health regulators manipulated the law. The law doesn't allow them to do what they've been doing to all of us, and I wanted to end that. So when I got to the Court of Appeal, I was shocked, because who was assigned to my case on the panel? I had a newly appointed judge and 2 retired judges to preside over my case. Where were the normal Court of Appeal judges? And my case was dismissed, and the decision, in my opinion, was wrong. I believe that I put in a very, very good case. I paid a lawyer who specialized in administrative law to review that legislation and to present a submission that is credible. And it was a substantial submission, and it was an extremely important case. And they assigned retired judges and a newly appointed judge to my case and dismissed my case.
So I don't understand how the measure of judicial effectiveness is lawful and reasonable. You know, a judge has to determine if the matter before him is lawful and reasonable. How is it that people who want to do law spend 6 years at university and they can't even get this sort of stuff right? I mean, if you went to the Kelly Hotel in Singleton, John, and you lined a bunch of guys up at the bar and you put this case to them and say, what do you reckon's fair and reasonable? My Le Trinh would have been back at work 4 years ago.
Mm.
But
Yes,
instead we have these absolute tyrants who are arguing the letter of the law backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Look, I want to say today, Miley, that I had a wonderful conversation with someone near and dear to me who said that through the medical advice that she's getting from a GP, that we Club Grubbery must continue to do what we're doing because this doctor said I'm about to get suspended because I can't keep my mouth shut anymore. I know I'm going to get suspended. Now, I dare not mention the state nor the relationship I have with this person because this octopus called AHPRA could seek them. Now, that doctor also said that they're not the only one in this position, that a lot of people are monitoring what's going on in the medical profession. But our call to you now is forget worrying about what AHPRA is going to do. For goodness sake, stand en masse. You know it's wrong. Whatever happened to first do no harm? Miley, if you hadn't followed first do no harm with that lady, she may well be dead now.
exactly. And that's what my expert witness said too, that she would have died had I not treated her. So, I mean, to me, after what I've been through, I could see that the work of the regulators, are not to keep Australians safe. The work of the regulator is to persecute doctors who are not serving the interest of big pharma, because we choose to do the right thing for our patients. So, you know, Australia has to wake up because that if they think that the health system is to promote their well-being, to educate them and to promote their well-being, I said that's not the case, because what they're doing is promote the interests of big pharma and not the interest or the health of the public. And that's why I'm being persecuted and prosecuted.
I want to say something else about you, Miley, because it stands to who you are as a person and your heart to serve other people. I know that you were ministering as in bringing faith into Dazelle Peters' life. I know that because I prayed with her a couple of times, and I know you were at her bedside many times, praying with her, giving her Bible studies. Am I right?
Well, I came to share faith with her when because I know that she's got a serious illness, and I wanted her soul saved. So I made that effort to do that, and that's what I did in Cambodia. So I been doing that for many years. It's the medical mission in Cambodia is not just for health, but it's actually sharing faith to the people in Cambodia.
Well, we're going to be conducting an interview in the next few days, John, with a young lady who's been on this program before, who was registered as vaccine injured, one of the first. And she's going to really blow the whistle on a highly prominent television doctor who's been treating her. And that's happening because the lid's off. They're so fed up with the way they've been treated. They're coming out all guns blazing. So we're looking forward to that interview coming up very soon. Look, the fact is the truth's coming out. The Premier of Queensland, Chris Afuli, has said, look, the mandates, we're not having mandates anymore. People should be back at work. You've got all the garbage going on in Victoria where the state government were clearly, in accordance with what was released today by Jacinda Allen in Victoria. At that time, John, they were clearly not following the health advice that was given. This was purely a political decision to lock Melbourne down. Everything about this smells like a rat in the cheese factory. It has done from day one. And now it's all rising to the surface. In spite of that, we've still got firefighters unemployed in Victoria. We've still got ambulance officers unemployed in Queensland. We've still got people like you unemployed in New South Wales. Even though all this truth is being revealed, even though the immunisation handbook has been changed to show that they got it wrong, and there's nobody talking about it. Heaps of doctors don't even know that the amendment's gone through. They're still vaccinating kids. I mean, can this system be any more broken?
Well, AHPRA should be held to account on that alone. How are they not investigating doctors that are still jabbing children? I mean, that's misconduct. And AHPRA, you're as guilty as anyone for not ensuring that message hasn't got out. Dr. Kerry Chant, the people at the Federal Health Department, ATAGI, the whole lot of you, the TGA, hang your heads in shame. You were quick to get on the broadcast at 11 o'clock and have your hooters on there, pretending you were God's gift to everyone. Well, you're an absolute bloody disgrace. And how on earth somebody like Robert Clancy, who holds an AM, is probably the world's most leading immunologist, Australian, received so many awards and notorieties. How can his evidence be disregarded in a court of, kangaroo court in Australia? We've lost the plot.
Oh no, the evidence of Big Pharma will come always first. I mean, be careful, John. You might get another complaint about civil disobedience from good old John Smith. He's a very prolific man. Miley, we know that you've really been struggling physically. It's been a hard battle for you mentally, physically. You're having a lot of sleepless nights. You've had a horribilous week. So where are you at now? And when do you think you can have some resolution to this? Is it coming soon?
So as I mentioned earlier, so we are waiting for the closing submission hearing, which has been scheduled for the 11th of August this year, and then they will pass a judgment. And I don't know how. Well, before that, sorry, if they make a decision to find me guilty of either of the professional misconduct or unprofessional conduct, I could be fined. So there will be a stage 2 of the hearing where they're going to decide what the sentencing is going to be, how long they want to cancel my license for, and how much they're going to fine me. So there'll be. So I'm only in the stage 1 of the hearing.
And the judge can take 18 months to pass down a decision.
Hopefully not that long, but yeah.
Look, Ali Langdon, Channel 9, A Current Affair, 7:30 report. What's wrong with you, Tools? Why aren't you dealing with this? This is not only a human interest story. This is a story that needs to be made public. Why is this not being made public in the mainstream? I mean, Chris Smith has spoken to you, Miley.
Yes.
This needs to be out in the mainstream, not in the echo chamber.
Yeah. I just want to say that one of the things that really wanted me to fight this has been the fact that they were so heavy-handed in the way they deal with my case. When I say heavy-handed, there's no procedural fairness or anything like that. I was actually forced to retire. They're forcing me to retire by issuing an indefinite suspension letter to my insurance company, and my insurance company then forced me into a retirement policy and block all communication with me for 2 years. My insurance company left me on a lurch and forced me to pay for a policy that I actually think it was unlawful because I wasn't retiring. I was being suspended, and they refused to support me on any of the legal proceedings that I faced. This particular one that this prosecution proceeding, they meant to support me, or they meant to pay for my cost, and also support the legal support. So initially I did get help from them, but the legal team that they have assigned to me was not acting in my best interest. So I had to dismiss them and engage another lawyer to represent me. So this is what I have had to deal with for the last 3.5 years.
Gee. Johnny?
Well, I think that demonstrates, Hoodie, just when we do get our heads around all this, and there is some justice, I really hope that these insurance companies, these unions, and these people that have just abandoned, Aussie battlers, who have paid their fees each week, who have paid exorbitant insurance policies, in the hope that they would be there to help them in their hour of need. Well, you bastards were never there. You are the most grubbiest. How you can even call yourselves Australians is beyond me. These unions, the people at the HSU, the Paramedics Association, all these organisations, the police union. I mean, they're just dreadful.
All Marxists, John. They're all
Fire
Marxists.
Brigade, Fire Brigade Employees Union. I mean, they've been horrific, Woody, haven't they? I mean, and that's seen these new communities created, like Red Union, AMPS, etc., that have been able to pick up some of the debris. But I mean, it's still not good enough. There needs to be. That's why we need a Royal Commission, because this stuff is just so big.
Yes.
It's not just the effect of somebody losing their job or somebody being injured from a vaccine. I mean, this is a big 360. It's just everywhere you look, there's carnage.
And we don't want terms of reference out of the Kellogg's cornflakes box either, Albanese. Look, this really does need to be investigated, regardless of what side of the fence you're on in Australia, in this divided country of Australia.
Mm.
Some things just don't pass the pub test, no matter what side of the fence you're on. And this just does not pass the pub test. And look, I think we've just got to keep the pressure on. And once again, we call out to all the doctors who are currently working, who are chomping at the bit because they're so angry at the way doctors are being treated. I've had numerous doctors, John, as you have over the past few years, tell us that suicide rates amongst doctors have gone up. Miley's nodding to that, and we know that this indefinite suspension of doctors is cruel, it's harmful, it's unproductive, and it's downright unlawful. Now, for that to happen, Miley wanted to be a doctor since she was a little girl. I wanted to be a pilot since I was 5 years old. John, you've had a heart to serve, and the paramedics was your big thing back when I don't know when you decided you want to be a paramedic. But your life, we get one chance at this life, one chance to fulfill our destiny, to live into our dreams, and that chance is held in the fingers of power-drunk bureaucrats is unconscionable in this country. It is unconscionable in any free democratic society. It's unconscionable. Look, I know pilots who have, the few that did stick to their guns, their careers are over. Their careers are done. You've got police officers, career police officers who love serving the community, the really good ones. Not the thugs that are happy to pull a trigger on a rubber bullet at a protester, but the really good ones. Not the ones who are prepared to throw an innocent guy to the ground and smash his head to the concrete. The really good ones. And where are they at the moment? Plumbing. We've got doctors who are selling pergolas.
Yep.
This country is an absolute basket case. an absolute basket case. Anyway.
And how many people are vulnerable now out in My Le's community? I mean, I know from working in Western Sydney, I mean, I worked at Green Valley and those places. You go to these houses, they don't speak English.
Mm.
They don't speak English. And so it would be absolutely rare to go to a doctor that would have a second language and could, make a real difference to these people. And things will get missed. People will have bad outcomes because of bad communication. And it's sad, very sad.
Yeah, well, we have to bring this one to a close. We want to keep in touch, Miley, and don't go anywhere after we close this off. I want to suggest something to you, but um, we'll close with a prayer and then come back with closing statements. Eh? Dear Lord Father in heaven, justice is a two-edged sword, and justice is blind. But Lord, reason, and you say to come and reason. Reason is always the best outcome. And there can be no reason in this situation because of the way it's been conducted. Father, we ask you to hold Dr My Le Trinh in your hands. Watch over her, console her, give her the courage and wisdom to keep going, knowing that she is loved and supported by so many. And Father God, we just pray that in this battle between good and evil, that your light will shine bright through people like Dr My Le Trinh, who've had the courage to stand by their convictions from the beginning. Lord, there are people in this community who need Dr My Le Trinh. They need John Larter. They need the fireys in Victoria. They need the police officers in New South Wales. They need the paramedics in Queensland. Father, help them be restored and properly compensated for the tremendous losses they've had in the last 4 years. And Father, please guide all of our outcomes with the Holy Spirit and fill us with the fruits of the Spirit so that we may live in compassion and reason and understanding. For this we ask in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
John?
you Ruby, for your prayers.
Well,
Thank you.
AHPRA, all I'd say to you is, Justin, please. I mean, what you're doing, you're the new incoming CEO. Just take a fresh look at this with fresh eyes.
Yeah.
Somebody who's not biased, who hasn't come in to this with, some flawed perception of what's gone on. I mean, all we're doing here is causing harm. That's all we're doing. There is no good outcome from pursuing people like My Le Trinh through courts. She's been proven right. And do you really think that Professor Robert Clancy and many others would be giving expert witness statements? I mean, this guy is an AM. He's an Australian hero, really. I mean, he served his whole career. I mean, would he be putting his reputation on the line if he did not believe that the actions of My Le Trinh were in the best interests of her patient? And that's what you've got to look at, AHPRA. That's what you have to look at. She wasn't doing any harm. She was doing her job, and she shouldn't be punished for it. You just couldn't make that stuff up.
Yeah, well said, John. And here's a chance for you as a new CEO to really turn the reputation of AHPRA around. You know, when we can provide eminent spokespeople in the medical industry and the health industry to support everything that we've said here tonight. You're not a medical man. You're the CEO of an organization. You've been involved in other organizations. You need to get across some of the bad things that are going on the ship that you're now steering. And we want to help facilitate that. And we will do that with respect. We can do that privately, or we can have you come on the program and explain some of the procedures and how they work. But great injustice is being done to health in Australia, to innocent people in Australia, and it's all happening on your watch. So we openly back that extension of our offer to come on.
Yeah.
So you couldn't make this stuff, everybody. You couldn't make this stuff up, as you said. Stay out of the trees. If you love this country, act like you do. Let's end the division and let's come together to bring people like My Le Trinh to the fore of their destiny. I thought that's what Australia was all about. God bless you all, and we'll be back next week for more Club Grubbery. Don't miss it. Keep sharing it. God bless you and bye for now.
Bye.